out. They're a very excited crew here.
Hey everyone, it's Andrew Brown, and welcome to the Terraform Cloud Project Beginner Bootcamp or Bootcamp Beginner Edition. I'm Andrew Brown, your co-organizer, and I'm joined with my other co-organizers. If they'd like to go ahead and introduce themselves before we roll into it.
Shala, would you like to go first?
Hey everybody, it's me, Shala. You may know me as Gifted Lane. I see you, Mariachi. Welcome back. I see a lot of y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back.
And hey everybody, my name is Chris Williams. I am on the sphere as at Mistwire. I'm glad to see you all. I'm very excited to get this bootcamp going.
Cool. So just so that everyone knows, usually these events, we have a cap for 2 hours. If we decide to end early because we have exhausted the content to which we want to do today, we're going to proceed over to after class Q&A in the Discord. Only those who are in the support tier or the graded tier are going to have access to that. After class Q&A is basically like Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, but in Discord, where you can come up and ask questions, take the microphone, and we can do that. But yeah, the goal of these live streams is to help anchor you for every single week. So the idea is that we are prepping you for each week. And it's a great way to interact with you all live here. So I have introduction slides. We have to go through them. This will be routine for us. This is not a slide heavy boot camp. So this is where slides are going to appear, is generally here in these live streams. But before we get started, I'd like to talk about our sponsors, because without these sponsors, it would have been very, 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 very difficult for us to organize these boot camps. The first I'd like to thank is Adrian Cantrell. And if you're not familiar with Adrian, Adrian produces certification study courses. He's known for the AWS certifications. And in this bootcamp, we're using AWS. So if you're looking for adjacent content to utilize or to get better on, Adrian's is here. Supporting Adrian is supporting this bootcamp. So please take a look there. I want to also point out that Adrian has a bunch of free mini projects. In this, we are doing it's kind of a mini project, a little bit bigger than a mini project. But if you're looking for other projects to utilize Terraform with, these you could try to write Terraform for. And that is my suggestion there. They are free on GitHub. The link is down below, as you can see there. I'd also like to thank HashiCorp. I don't think I would have been doing this bootcamp if HashiCorp did not come through. HashiCorp really does care about community, and we greatly appreciate their help here. Chris, you're from HashiCorp, right?
Why, yes, I am, Andrew. Yes. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, and folks might not maybe recognize Chris from the last bootcamp. Chris was Week-0
yes.
guest
Margaret
instructor.
And I did the Week-0 enterprise architecture, how to ask questions, how to put yourself into the mindset of an engineer.
Yeah, and so Chris is back full steam for this one. So it's going to be super exciting, backed by popular demand. And HashiCorp, well, why not, Chris?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, I did the polls and you're number one. And don't tell the other guest instructors. But anyway, HashiCorp is providing us swag. So we're going to have 50 t-shirts that we can give away and 50 vouchers. I have a placeholder for the t-shirt, but it turns out I got it pretty good. I didn't know what the t-shirt looked like. I took a graphic, I threw it on there, and I was like, I hope this is something. But
it's a t-shirt with Terraform on it.
Hey, it's great. I'd love to have one.
So I'm actually rocking it right now. This is the t-shirt that we're going to be giving away.
Cool. And so how do you get these things? What's the requirement?
So for the vouchers, what we're going to do is anybody that completes the course, and when I say anybody, I mean anybody from the free tier, the paid tiers, we are going to randomly select 50 recipients from the completionists. For the 50 t-shirts, we are going to randomly select from everybody. So even if you don't complete, then you have a chance to win the t-shirts. But if you do complete, then you also have a chance to win one of the 50 vouchers.
Cool. So yeah, that's why it's important to register. Even if there's a free tier, there's a huge advantage to do that because you do still get access to layered content like the Quizlets and things like that. It's going to help reinforce the path. It's also going to help you keep track of where you are in your journey. So lots of advantages for getting into that free tier. I do want to point out a few other things. If folks are not familiar with the HashiCorp community ecosystem, they do have a few events they do per year. There's Hashi Talks, Hashi Days, and HashiConf. So I think HashiConf at the time of this video is going to be coming up very soon. Hashi Talks and Hashi Days have already occurred. Chris, what are the difference between these three events?
Well, so the Hashi conference is the live in-person conference that's held in San Francisco every year. It is a hybrid event, and we will be going out to San Francisco to talk to everybody that shows up, hang out with our community members, and do a lot of presentations. It's like a standard conference, but it's also going to be posted live. Hashi Days is a smaller localized event that happens. This last year, it happened in London, Munich, and Paris. There was a on-prem. Can I say on-prem for a conference? Does that count? My old data center days are starting to show themselves. So we did have live attendees for Hashi Days as well, but that was mostly virtual. And then the Hashi Talks, that's the global 24-hour global community event that happens, and that is fully virtual.
Yeah, and so if folks that are trying to get more into multi-cloud and utilize these very popular technologies, I do recommend that you go and try to inject yourself into the community because it could really help you in your career. I'm a big advocate of trying to get into the community. I'm in a few community programs that some folks might be aware of, and it really does make a huge difference if you can. Another thing I want to mention are the HashiCorp user groups, also known as hugs. Chris, did you come up with that name?
No, I wish that I could have. I came up with Pug for the Portsmouth user group, the community event that I run. I did not come up with hugs. It is brilliant because everybody needs a hug.
Yeah, and so user groups, these are on Meetup. So if you are trying to connect locally with other community members, this is a great way again to extend your network and to upskill and just have the best opportunities available to you. So I want you folks to know about that. I want to thank Week-0 Data. Week-0 Data was sponsoring, just like Adrian had sponsored the last bootcamp. Week-0 Data is a private school, and I should say they're accredited private school here in Canada, in Toronto. They do both in person and online. So they run boot camps, they do portfolio projects, they do shorter courses, shorter workshops. I love them. They really have helped me a lot over the years. I'm really happy to have them as a sponsor as they continue to help me. And I hope that we can help them. They do have their own YouTube where they have a bunch of free videos. They are focused around cloud and data. So think data engineer, data analytics, machine learning, think DevOps, things like that. They have a Terraform video. They also have an Ansible video, which is really good accompaniment to Terraform. I'm not sure if we'll be touching Ansible in this bootcamp, but if I can squeeze it in, I'll put it in. And so I wanted to point that out. They also have Cloud open courses. So if you go to their platform, you can start learning Python. You can start learning SQL, the fundamentals of it. These are complete courses and they're free. I would go check them out because even if you're not doing data, these two things I use quite often, especially SQL, and I just strongly recommend it. Apparently I'm a sponsor. I never talk about my company, even though I run events. I just never do. Chris is like, you should talk about what you do. I'm like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah, maybe you ought to do that.
Okay, so for those who don't know, I mean, you register for this boot camps. I hope you know, but ExamPro is my organization or my company, and we focus on producing certification training and I guess boot camps as well. But there's a bit of a twist. What we do is we produce all the course materials for free, the video part of it. So that's my personal goal of making things accessible. You can see that we've covered a bit of everything: AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle, Terraform, Kubernetes, you name it. I've gone through it. And you say, well, how do you stay in business if you're free? Well, we do layer our content with additional things. So we have study notes, flashcards, Quizlets. You can download the lectures, download the cheat sheets. We have practice exams, which, by the way, we always give a free practice exam away for free. And we have support. We now are also introducing validators, which are kind of like sandboxes, but will test against your actual real accounts. So you bring your own account, which, by the way, we use in this bootcamp. And it really has to do with community support that we are able to do this. So yeah, thank you for all for supporting me throughout the years, and I hope to bring you more boot camps and free courses like that. I want to talk about Ashish and Shilpi. So if you're in the last boot camp, you probably recognize Ashish. Ashish and Shilpi run the Cloud Security podcast. They had produced the security content. We're getting security content again for those who are interested, because security is always a lens. I think that is very important. You might want to go check out their podcast. I was on it. I think I covered Azure security, because I do a bit of everything, but yeah, I did Azure that time, and it's on there somewhere. Cloudsecuritypodcast.tv. They are going to run a cloud security bootcamp. I'll probably be helping them with this to some degree. And if you're interested in a security bootcamp, go to cloudsecuritybootcamp.com. You got to scroll down and look for it's like subscribe or register, because it'll put you onto the list so they know that you're interested in it. Because if you want it, they'll make it, but you have to go over there. You have to go press that button. So we are going to know. Now we're kind of getting into the expectations of this course. So I have a few slides. We'll talk around these here, but just so you understand, what's like, how are these boot camps ran? Because this is not like a video course. I mean, there's videos. It's in a course format, but it's a little bit different. And I'm hoping that you all appreciate the differences here that we're trying to bring here. So you'll hear a phrase, and I'll repeat this a lot. We're building the bridge as we cross it. What does that mean? It means that not everything is prepared ahead of time. So I have scoped out a project. I've talked to Chris and Shala. They know what the project is. And the thing is that you can make the best plan ever. But when you execute it, you find that you're going to have changes along the way. I like to capture that while we're doing that. And so I intentionally, by design, not record everything up front, because then I would go back and do it again. And then we would lose the most valuable part, which is what happens when you have a plan and it changes, and how do you adjust for it? So that is something that's really important to me. So the project and feature scope of this bootcamp may change. We may need to circle back and repeat things if there are mistakes, or let's say we lose code or something. We may do things out of order. I thought that was funny. There. Yeah, I thought it was funny. So we may do things out of order. So we might have a plan and do them a little bit different. We may need to add ad hoc content to address unexpected scenarios. And if people are noticing my grammar and spelling mistakes, I am dyslexic. Please be kind to me, and I'll be kind to you, okay?
Yeah.
Because we all make minor mistakes there, but yeah, you'll see minor mistakes from me.
We have a no jerks policy.
Yeah, be polite. Now, I just want to point out that because of the fact that we're building the bridge as we cross it, technical failure is possible. And I think risk is a very important component of when building up projects. If there is no risk, you know what I mean? We're not really learning it's if you play bowling and you have the bumpers on and you have the guide that points it down to the thing, there's no risk. There's no risk of failure. Then how do you make sure that you get good at something? So when I say technical failure, I mean that it's possible that our projects don't work at the end. We're going to still learn Terraform. We'll learn everything about it. I don't think we're going to fail because this is a beginner bootcamp. But there was times in the last bootcamp where I was like, uh-oh, what do we do here? Because we've hit an area where there might be a considerable spend, or something wasn't working, and took Baco. And Baco, people don't know who Baco is. Baco's the person that whispers in my ear. We'll talk about Baco later, where we weren't sure if we could solve it. But we did. We got through the last bootcamp. And so I just want you to know that can happen in this bootcamp. We may need to circle back and repeat things. It's a bad joke, Chris, because I listed it twice and I said we might have to.
Look,
okay.
Look, I am getting all of these jokes. I will not also be your laugh track.
Okay. All right. So we've We know that I'm not funny, okay, but I'm okay at teaching. All right.
I didn't say that. No, you are funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm like waiting for all the laughs.
I'm
in the
sorry.
chat.
I don't
It's
even have
okay.
OBS set up to do my laugh track. I will set it up for the next
Why
live
don't we
stream.
have that? That would be awesome.
Right?
This is another thing I want to point out, that this is not a paint by numbers boot camp. Oh, by the way, before we go back, Chris, Shala, any comments about this? Do you like this? Do you hate this? Do you like the graphic I generate out from Midjourney?
Is that a mid-journey graphic of a bridge being built as they're crossing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was mid-journey. Congratulations. That was some good prompting that you did to make that happen.
Thank you. I have to use it every month because I pay for it. So I have to insert Midjourney images somewhere.
Nice.
Did you sorry, you wanted us to comment on this, or just
Oh yeah,
just
if
the
you have
picture?
any, do you have any thoughts? Do you like this? Do you hate this?
Oh, I mean, this absolutely makes sense. I mean, this harkens back to week 0 of the AWS bootcamp that we did, where we encouraged folks to, ask good questions. Make sure that, well, I mean, we'll get into asking good questions, but I also want to iterate that there are no dumb questions. If you don't know something, make sure that you do a little bit of Googling and do some research on your own. But if you're stuck, make sure that you ask in the Discord and get your questions answered. Because if you're confused, then there's probably other people that are going to be confused too.
And a few people will be a bit confused, and that's totally okay, just because of the nature of how we run these boot camps. So the next one here we have is, this is not a paint by numbers boot camp. What does that mean? You cannot just follow steps and expect to complete this boot camp. I mean, for the most part, you should be able to for the beginner boot camp. But one issue that I think a lot of people learning technologies have is that they'll go buy courses, and these courses itemize and detail every little single thing. And if you follow them, you could just literally follow them and not even pay attention to what's going on, get to the end, get whatever it is that you think that you've done, and you think you've acquired knowledge. And we want to make sure that this is not a paint by numbers boot camp. You need to use critical thinking and best judgment. You need to look up documentation. You'll see me go to documentation constantly in this boot camp. You need to take good notes. It is required in this boot camp to take notes. In fact, I'm going to be writing notes in the video. So like, if we do like a video that's 10 minutes, there's going to be a part where I'm going to be doing 5-10 minutes of documentation. I'm doing it with you. I learned from the last boot camp that a lot of folks had the good technical skills of being able to use the technology, but they did not know how to document. And I want to make sure that I do that with you. We don't do it like heavily in all the videos, but you'll find in the beginning, at the start of the course, they're going to be a little bit more heavier, because I'm trying to help you get better documentation. It's something you do a lot of, documentation and notes. You need to show proof of effort when asking questions. So Chris said, there are no dumb questions. However, there are things that you can do to show consideration, to show proof of effort when you ask a question. We have a dedicated video on that. Make sure you put in the time, because this is an expectation of cloud engineers. I think we cover it as well in the cloud engineer section, expectations. So you'll hear this repeated multiple times, proof of effort. There are hazards and there are code traps in this bootcamp. What does that mean? I might purposely put code that is janked, meaning it's purposely wrong. And if you were to copy and paste it, you will have to debug it. I did this, and I'm doing this kind of again here, because I want you to have critical thinking and to experience not a lot of pain, but a little bit of pain, because in the real world, you might copy code that is incorrect. You might introduce something that you did not notice that was incorrect, or misconfigured is a nicer way to say misconfigured. And I want to make sure that you experience that, you can work through that, because at the end of the day, when you're on the job, you're not going to be handed step-by-step instructions, and you have to work with some level of issues or variability. I polled people and saying, did you want this again? And majority, like 70%, said, yes, please. I want to have a bit of pain. Not a lot of pain. I don't want to be debugging things for weeks. I made it too hard the first time around. But we'll give you some pain in this one, okay? honing the craft and not just the tool. That is something that's really important. We are learning Terraform, a lot of it, but we are going to do non-Terraform things, right? We're going to practice, make good practice of good documentation. We're going to have good Git workflow practices. Something we did in the last bootcamp is I realized we should have been tagging and branching and doing pull requests. We're doing that every single time for every single feature. We're going to be writing bash scripts. Bash scripts are back. It's mandatory in all my boot camps. You learn how to do bash scripting because they're super useful. We're going to explore technical specs. We're going to Google and Bing things because I want to show you where things are coming from and how to find them, and not just say, here's the answer. I want you to see how I search for things so that you can understand how to search for things. And we'll probably use some LLMs to generate out some code. And we'll talk about when that's good and when that's bad. ChatGPT, whatever you want to use. I would use Bard, but it's not available in Canada. Chris and Shala, what do you think?
Sorry, I'm keeping up with the chatters.
Yeah,
but
the chat's
yes,
just like this, eh?
yes.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to call out real quick, since we took a quick pause, is are people still able to register for the boot camp like right now?
Good question. So technically we're supposed to close it, but I think that there's some folks that we learned this last time that people didn't know there was a boot camp until the live stream happened. So I think we're going to give them a grace day of a few days to register, but
Okay.
we run the risk of if we don't close it in the pre-week, there will be people coming in unprepared, and that might be very difficult. So I'm just going to say right now, if you can get in now, get in for registration. But we're going to close it at some point. I don't know when. It's up to Baco. I've been talking to Baco in my ear, trying to figure out when that date is closed. So just run to registration. Do it today. Or if you watch this video and you can register, you registered. If you can't, then it's closed, and that's just going to be it because it's already supposed to be closed.
Yeah, this is going to be a short boot camp compared to the last one. So folks that get in during week 2 are already going to be so far behind the gun that they're not. It's not even going to do them any good. So it wouldn't be fair to everybody else if there was a lot of folks that came in afterwards to try to then catch up.
And Mike says, should I have done all of week 0 work? Week 0 just is. I think there's there's a couple of videos that are still not in there, like how to do submissions and things. But the way we did this bootcamp is this week, which is pre-week, we've baked in getting set up because we learned that we had given a list before and we started a bootcamp and folks needed support. And so you don't have to have week 0 done, but some people got ahead of it if we saw some of the videos. But you need to have it done for the next week, which
week 0 starts right now.
Yeah, it starts right now.
This is the kickoff.
And we'll talk about that list. We have it here later in the slides here. I want to talk about the difference between certification and boot camp because those are two things. And my goal is that there's overlap. So think of a Venn diagram where there's things that overlap and there's things that are going to be different. And I want them to be different by design so that you get a bit of like a full experience. And so I do think that I do recommend that if you're doing this boot camp, you should seek certification, or if you have certification, you do this boot camp because you're going to get different things out of these two things. So let's just talk about the differences, and then Chris and Shala can tell me if they agree with what I'm saying here, or if I'm full of it. So for certifications, I think that the way they're designed, at least for the Terraform ones, is you learn every feature. And I put an asterisk on there because it's not every feature, but you learn everything. It's like opening up a dictionary and learning every single word in the dictionary. But you're not necessarily utilizing it in a project, but you're learning all the capabilities of Terraform. You learn fundamental concepts of IAC. So we're focusing on, what is IC, what is HCL, what is declarative imperative, things like that. The fundamental concepts. It tests your ability to recall Terraform knowledge. The reason I say that is the Terraform course as of this day is a multiple choice, probably multi-select as well. I just don't remember. And so, it can infer that you know the knowledge, but at the end of the day, it's multiple choice, multiple select. So I describe it as recalling Terraform knowledge. It cannot validate if you actually have that ability, because it's not validating against a real account. That distinction. It's feature focused. That's the type of learning it is. And it's learning in isolate. So when I mean that learning in isolate, it's like I'm going to learn what like for each is. I'm going to learn what Terraform console command is. All those things are in isolate. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a way of learning. Let's talk about the bootcamp. For the bootcamp, we're learning the most common features you'll use in practice, right? So we're going to make you proficient in using Terraform, but we're not going to learn every little feature of it. It's what you're going to commonly use. We're going to learn about the business and technical practices around IAC. So the other one, we talk about fundamental concepts. This one's more like, well, this is what I would probably do if I worked for a company using Terraform, things like that. Or this is what I hear about opinions about Terraform in terms of what are best practices, but we're going to do it this way, things like that. This is going to validate your ability to use Terraform in a project. We have validators for those who are in the graded tier. It's going to test against your real account. You bring your own account, and we're going to probe your AWS account, make sure the resources are configured correctly. And so that's the distinction between testing knowledge and actually testing if the thing is actually up. And this is project focused. So learning in collaboration, we want to have a certain level of complexity. And so those are the differences, in my opinion. Chris, what do you think?
So I definitely like both approaches. The certification approach, because I used to be in professional services, people would want to know if I was certified in, whatever technology stack I was working in. That's the base level of competency. I really like boot camps because that's where we're going to learn how to take the knowledge from a certification and then how to do that in the real world. So I see the certification as domain specific knowledge, and I see the boot camp as the things you're actually going to do in a real job. And those two things are both valuable and both necessary for being successful as a cloud engineer.
And Charlotte, I think you use Terraform at work, right? Have you got certified in Terraform?
No, not yet. What is with the look? You know how I feel about cert exams. Like I study for them all the time. But
I will get you a voucher. You have no excuses.
Oh man,
So-
now I gotta take it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's value in both, and some roles, like you can get away with just being certified, and other ones you can get away with just having practical knowledge. But I think that if you want to be a well-rounded cloud engineer, you want to have both those things. And I always
Yep.
recommend having both of them. I don't think one is worse than the other, but I do think that maybe in our industry that people have focused more on one than the other. And so that's the purpose of this bootcamp, is to provide the other shoe, so to speak, so that you folks can, some kind of analogy about walking or something on clouds. Anyway, so that's that there. I want to point out that Chris has produced this really, really exhaustive guide on study notes that was recently published.
Eye-wateringly exhaustive.
I remember. I was like, "Hey, Chris, is it done yet?" He's like, "Almost done."
5 weeks later. Okay, now I'm
a
done.
month goes later on by. So, an exhausting list of study notes. This is posted on Free Code Camp. And so, if you are looking to get certified or using this as notes during this bootcamp, it's a great cheat sheet or quick guide. I don't have a slide for it. I might show this, but I do have a Terraform certification course where all the videos are free. So I don't know why. I might do it, but I haven't decided. I might insert some of the lecture content videos in this bootcamp. I haven't decided yet. Bako, should I do that? Bako saying maybe. Okay, so I'll have to talk to Bako a bit more about that.
And I linked to that video in the study notes as well.
Oh, great. But when we get to areas where we're talking about like for each, I'm not going to go in great detail of all the all the different ways you can use it. We're going to use it in the way that we use it. And if you want to know, I have accompanying videos. Like for anything in Terraform, I have accompanying videos. But you'll learn that what I did in the videos, and I exhaustively did Terraform. what I actually can recall from when I made that video is dramatically different. And I think that just points out that like you can learn everything, but actually remembering and what you need to use in practicality is different. And that's okay. Just take good notes, because I can always I can say, yeah, I know Terraform. Watch my videos. I clearly did it. Right. So, note taking is going to be, yeah, that's in my opinion, that's going to be very important. And I am seeing some questions here that I'd like to circle back and answer. Charlotte's probably seen them as well. But I think we have one more slide. Oh, a few more slides. So, want to remind folks that these live streams happen every Saturday. It says until May. Oh, I didn't update that. That's from the old boot camp. It's supposed to
Oopsie.
say till. Oh, okay. 1 second. I can fix this. One
Yes.
second.
Quickly.
Nobody saw that. Okay. These are fresh slides right out of the oven. Okay. Every Saturday until whatever our end date is, October 7th, I believe. And we have, I warned you. I warned you that there'd be
Yep.
changes.
October 7th. Every
noon,
Saturday until October 7th.
October 7th. And we these happen noon. So people are here, so it's noon Toronto time. So that's Eastern Standard. And they're recorded because I understand that time zones are different. And so it's a struggle for some to show up here. So we understand that totally. So that is one thing. Remember to read the FAQs. Now I got a pen tool. I'm dangerous. The FAQs, the outline, the codes of conduct. And if you're in the Discord, read the Discord announcements. I'll try to push things out as well into our platform, because we do have the ability to do that. But mostly, like, I'm doing play-by-play stuff in the Discord. So that's one really good reason to be in there. All this stuff is linked in the terraform.cloudprojectbootcamp.com. They're also linked in the student portal, so you have access to them. If you haven't read the FAQ, it will answer a lot of your questions. I'm seeing questions that are already in the FAQ. And we'll talk about that here in a moment. How long is the boot camp? Read the FAQ. It's all in the FAQ. I could say that 100 times over. I want to talk about the purpose of pre-week. We didn't have a pre-week before. We learned the hard way. We should have a pre-week. So the pre-week is where we are getting set up to do the project, creating your accounts, cloning or copying copying the GitHub project template, configuring the base project, not necessarily working on the project, but configuring whatever we need to configure. And then we have videos in here, and we have two, which is you have to finish the prep. So this is pretty much talking about all these. These are pretty much in the prep. And then we have project prep. So why are there two? I don't know. It's just the way we divided it. But this is all week 0. So you need to finish all of this for the next week. How many hours are there?
And there are videos for it. There are videos for each one of those steps. So if you have any questions, watch the video for it in the YouTube playlist.
Yeah, and it's in the YouTube playlist, but it's also in the platform. So however you want to participate is up to you. We want to make sure that it's accessible in different ways. Oh yeah, of course. But the thing is that I want to point out is that I don't know how many hours of videos there are, but I did decide this time around, and this is actually because of the way Chris is making videos, and because it's a beginner boot camp, that I would make smaller videos, and I'd stop trying to make 4-hour long videos. And because when you're doing stuff, I'll do like 20 things at the same time, and I'm like, I'm saving time by cramming them together. But I decided to make smaller videos. There is like one big video at the start about like GitHub documentation, but they'll be paced a lot better than the last bootcamp. Can we have a link for the videos, please? It's all in the FAQ. Read the FAQ. And you'll see me saying that quite a bit. But anyway, so that's the pre-week, and we are done our slides. So maybe we can answer a couple questions here. I think there was one here. Will this help me understand CDK and CloudFormation? You'll understand what IAC is, and there's some transferable conceptual knowledge, but those are two different technologies. And actually, we do look at CloudFormation a little bit in this bootcamp here. If you're interested in both CDK and CloudFormation, they're all covered in the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp. We did them heavily in those in the later half of the bootcamp. Will we get AWS credits for this bootcamp? No, we are running everything on the free tier, so you don't really need credits. It's in the free forever tier. We're using CloudFront, we're using S3. We'll see that here in a moment, so that will be less of an issue. I'm just scrolling through the history here, and I know there was another.
Shan Morton said, "Thank you for the shorter videos."
Yeah, sorry about that the first time around. Just trying to get that boot camp done. Going through here, there was something else. I wanted to. I think it was. Oh yeah, so free tier, and this is also in the FAQ. If I'm in the free tier now, can I upgrade to the paid tier? So the way our the Exampro platform works, if you're on free, anytime you can upgrade to paid. If you go to support tier, which is the $5 tier, and you want to go to the $50 tier, our system is not smart enough yet to give you the difference. So if you want to be in that graded tier, just contact our support at support@exampro.co saying, hey, I'm in support tier. I want to upgrade to graded tier. Can you generate a discount, a coupon for me so that I'm not paying $55 because of the $5? And they'll check, make sure you have that other tier and help you out there. But yeah, again, try to register in the free tier. So let's get rid of these slides. We're all slided out. I promise there aren't many slides in this bootcamp. And we'll get this out of the way. Sorry, guys?
Hey,
Yep.
Andrew. I keep seeing a question pop up. So if you are on the paid tier, you have access to the portal, can you watch the videos there as well, or should everyone go to the YouTube playlist? I keep seeing that pop up.
Good question. So if you are in the free tier, if you're registered on Exam Pro, all the videos will be there as well as on the YouTube. So it'll be in both places. It's just up to you whether you want to be in the Exam Pro platform. Some folks just don't want to make accounts, right? They don't want to do anything. They don't want to not do anything, but they don't want to make new accounts, and they just want to consume it on YouTube. So it's in both places. My recommendation is to utilize in the platform. I'm just going to go over here. So in the platform, you can see the videos, and there's videos that are done. We just have them unlisted, but we'll go in here. All the videos are here, and then some will be locked, so they'll say unavailable, and we'll unlock them as they progress. But yeah, you can watch all of them for free on here. The only key difference, I think, is that if you're in the free tier, it's going to serve up the same YouTube videos in here. If you're on the $5 or $50 tier, it serves it up with Vimeo. And the only advantage to that is that when you embed YouTube videos, they'll have like a little box when you pause. It's really annoying, and Vimeo will fix that. But there's other things in here. So like we have, it's not published yet, but we'll be doing a survey. So I have a survey just to ask you general questions so that I can understand the composition of the people that are taking the bootcamp. And that I really want folks to fill that in because it's going to really help me understand how to adjust content or do support well during this bootcamp. We have a mid journey survey, and then we have a survey at the end of the bootcamp. We have validators, and each week has a validator. You'll learn about validators as we go through it. But that's a way for those in the graded tier to get validation. When you complete, what percentage do you have to get the badge, Bako? Is it 100%? 100%. So there's this bootcamp progress bar, and you earning stars. So if you watch a video, I didn't mean to click in. Yeah, sorry. And that's only for the graded, by the way. But if you're graded, for the graded folks, you need to go and clear all these stars. So watching the video in here, you actually have to do in the platform if you're graded. If you watch the video to the end, you'll get the star. We will have Quizlets, so there'll be extra ones for completing labs or for doing Quizlets. You'll see that as appear. But once you have 100% stars and you pass all the validators, a badge will be issued to you. A certificate will be issued to you. You can put them on your LinkedIn. You can show folks that you have the practical knowledge there. So hopefully that's clear. But all these links, the outline, the FAQ, all the stuff is here as well. So you're going to have an easy time finding that stuff. So hopefully that is clear. Charlotte, is there any other questions that you saw?
There are, but I'm answering them in the chat. But keep in mind, everybody, definitely check out the website for the Terraform Bootcamp. You'll see a lot of your questions answered there, especially for the tier information. I'm seeing things like, do I have access to the Discord if I'm using free tier, stuff like that. It is on the website. You'll see the differences on there.
And I'll just pull up the FAQ just so folks can see what it is. I'm not going to read through it all, but I just want to show people. So if we go through here, it talks about like learning paths. What is the difference between pre-registration and registration, which is already done? This is a free or paid boot camp. What do you get for different tiers? Spent a lot of time writing this, folks. So it's very thorough in terms of those details. If there's new questions, we'll come back and we'll update this. And we generally do update it throughout the boot camp. So that is something to point out. The outline details the general idea of the boot camp. So, and these dates are up to date. Great. So, like, what is the purpose of each week? What is the goal? The learning outcomes that I want you to have in this boot camp. The project requirements. I don't know why we have it there. We don't have it linked in there. The general time commitment that we guess that we would do for each week. The prerequisite knowledge. So you could have been watching these videos ahead of time to preps, because we do say you need to have a bit of AWS knowledge. If you don't, you'll probably be able to stumble through it. It's not that hard what we're doing, but we give prerequisite knowledge that is free content to watch. The prerequisite technologies, we make videos on how to set all these up. So you don't have to worry about following through here. You can follow the videos. We describe what the project is. This is what we're building. It's called Terra Towns. Well, sorry, you're building Terra houses and you're going to be deploying them into Terra Towns. So for our last bootcamp, we had a Twitter-like clone called Crutter, and all our intermediate bootcamps are going to be built around that. For this one, we had to have a project in scope for the size or the difficulty of this bootcamp. And so Terra Towns is the project. So Terra Towns is a community website that acts as a hub to discover and connect terraformers to each other. It's kind of like GeoCities. It's this style of GeoCities of 2021. I don't know if it's 2023. I think I'm 2 years out. But terraformers will write IAC and they'll launch a Terra house. And a Terra house is a simple content management system. And by that, I mean it's HTML and CSS that you folks get to write. And the way it works, if we go over here, is that we're going to have different categories. So think of a category of interest that you have. And so, like, for instance, I like the game called Arcanum. It's a game from 2001. And basically, imagine it's GeoCities and you're making like a cool page for a single focus thing. And once you launch it, you're going to be able to connect it. And we should all be able to kind of explore. So we have one for food. We have one for travel. We have one for videos, TVs or movies, games, music.
Man.
Right.
I have to make one for each. I can't decide.
I'm gonna have
I'm
to
a
do.
gamer. I'm a traveler. What's going on here?
So
many to choose from.
I think I'll probably make is I'll probably try to make a retro kit of GIFs and things if folks are having a hard time, and I'll probably make videos on how I make my pages. This is just fun. It's a fun way for us all to connect, and I want to see this stuff filled out. But anyway, Terra Towns is an isolate app, or it's an app that is running, and you need to connect to it. And the way that's going to work, here's our big scary diagram. I made it as scary as I could. I was like, when I first made it, it looked too simple. And I was like, this looks too simple. I'm going to just put as much stuff as I wanted. And then people started going, oh, I'm scared of it. I'm like, yes. Okay. So,
Step one, scare off all the students. Great job,
scare off all the students. And so Terra Towns, the idea is that we need to connect to it. I don't even think I illustrate that part here, but we are going to use a custom provider in order to provision a resource into the Terra Towns application. And I'm going to tell you, making a provider is not beginner content, but I wanted to do it anyway because I thought it'd be really fun. And to create a provider is just such a cool thing to put on your resume going, oh yeah, I did a beginner bootcamp and we made a custom provider in Terraform. But it won't be hard. I promise you that. I'll make it as easy as possible. But that should be really exciting. But the point is, we're going to deploy it. You're going to connect those applications. And this will be a very fun architecture. Chris, what do you think of my architecture? Do you like it?
So
okay?
I do want to make sure that any Terraform beginner that's looking at this is not scared by this. We are going to be walking through the creation process of this. there's a lot of interdependencies and a lot of things that hit each other, but some of that is going to be automated. Back-end calls from the CLI to the provider, things like the TF vars file and stuff like that. These are things that you will come to understand. There's a lot of movement in here, but don't be afraid of this. We're gonna break all of this apart. We're gonna explain each one of those pieces and how it works in the videos. And that's what I wanted to say, in case anybody's like immediately freaking out.
And are we going to get a copy of this architecture so we can look at it?
Oh yeah, so I don't think we linked it yet, but that's a good point. We should really link it and make sure it's accessible. And I throughout the videos, I try to come back and reference it. The idea that the reason I filled it up was so that we could visually see where things are. Normally, when you make an architectural diagram, they don't make them this busy. It's just that I wanted to show where we're using those different commands and to try to make it very clear visually, because for me, I'm a visual learner and I need to see this stuff. But even if it feels a bit scary, in our last bootcamp, which was intermediate, we had a lot of beginners, and it was surprising how far they got being beginners because of community support and because of the support that we put in there. So, I think that if you're a bit scared, then you're going to learn something. You're going to be in good shape. Okay. So, hopefully that is going to be good for you folks. But yeah, there's the outline coming back to this. So, Terra Towns is going to come up. I would show Terra Towns now, but I haven't finished building it. That's what I'm talking about, building the bridge as we cross it. So we're prepped for a few weeks. So I think week 1 is done. Week 0 content is done. Week 2 is outlined. And so, Bako is going to be helping me get Terra Towns up and running. And so we will have that stuff out. You won't even know that we're building it as we go. It'll just feel like videos are rolling out, but we are building that stuff. And again, we want to have that buffer in case we need to adjust content based on how everyone's doing, because we want to have flexibility with that there. We do have an outline here, but it's changed a lot. So I might have to go back and see it. But if you want to kind of see an idea of what we were doing, it gives you a bit of an idea there for the outline. So hopefully that is clear. We have a codes of conduct. I want to point out that I enforce codes of conduct. Our co-organizers enforce codes of conduct. My employees enforce codes of conduct. So, we have a video on this in the cloud engineer expectations, but you should know what they are. And, be aware that, I like to say that this is a Canadian boot camp. So Canadian rules apply. Use common sense. You are in think of this, you are in a professional workspace. So if it's something that you would not do at work in Canada, because I don't know how it is where everybody is, but in Canada, it's not going to be okay to do here. And, read through that so that, you don't end up in trouble by accident or for whatever other reason there. There is a grading rubric. It's not super complicated. I like how it's linked up here, but not other places. But this just kind of tells you what you need to do to get your badge. And so the idea is that you need to submit your GitHub URL. Each week we have homework submissions. I haven't made the videos on that, but you're supposed to actually submit homework every week. And you're going to be running a validation tool possibly every single week. It says 90%, but Bako told me it's 100%. So now it's going to be 100% here. So I'll just adjust it because that's what he told me that it is. And I just want to point out that it's at my discretion or anyone's discretion if we want to issue a badge. If you're in bad behavior, or you're doing things where it does not look like you should pass, but you technically pass, we're free to not issue you a badge. But for the most part, if you work hard, you do the work, everything looks normal, you're gonna get that badge at the end of the day. It shouldn't be too difficult there. We didn't really have issues. I think it was like out of all the people last bootcamp, there's only one where I had an issue. And so that's pretty good. That's very, very low. And so I don't expect there to be issues.
That's the nice Canadian way of saying no cheating.
Yeah. So, and I'm just saying, like, I just saw some interesting creative ways of learning off of others.
Yeah.
But this project here, you're going to have to copy it. We have a video on this. I'm going to tell you right now, if you make a mistake on this, that's a big issue, because we noticed in our first boot camp that when folks did this, they did everything the wrong way. They forked it, they named it wrong, they added extra characters, and it made it so the validators did not work. In this boot camp, we have validators. These validators are only flexible up to a certain point. So if you start doing crazy things and our validators cannot check it, you might not get a grade for it. So just make sure that you try to stick as close as you can to what we're doing. We talk about this, I think, in the cloud engineering expectations, where not to go off the rails and try to stick with the course. I know people might want to be using Terraform for different reasons, but just understand that if you want to get the badge, you can't go too far off there. What if we don't have the validation tools? The validation tools, you don't only people that are graded are going to have access to the validation tools, right? So if you're in the graded tier, you'll be doing the validators. If you're not, you can do whatever you like, because we're not going to be checking the validators for that. So just understand that, okay? Clone as in write. It's actually not cloning. We're doing a copy. So we'll learn that in the video. But if we go here, you have to use this template and create a new repository. There's a whole video on this. Again, make sure you follow these to a T, because this can really muck you up if you don't do those. But yeah, so I mean, that's a lot of stuff there. We could talk about the Discord for a moment. So if you're in the paid tier, you'll get a this Discord access here, which will give you a display code. You'll get into the Discord. You really want to install Discord on your phone and on your computer. You want to use the desktop Discord, because that's going to be the easiest way to use this course. If I bring the Discord over here, we are scheduling things up here. And so right now, if you're not in Discord, you would have been notified that this event is happening. This is the main hub. You'll see me post in this area quite a bit. We're going to be asking questions down here in the forums. We talk about how to ask good questions, and just be respectful in the Discord. But this is a really great place to be in here. We're still trying to get SheCloud set up. I have to talk to Sam to bring people in there. So if you're wondering when SheClouds are going to get started, that's going to be happening immediately. We just have to start issuing that out. It's going to pull us up because people are typing, and I don't want to show anything that may not necessarily be shown on there. When do we get access to the Discord? It is in the support tier. So you have to be paying the $5 at least to get it. And then this will appear here. It generates a one-time link. This link can only be used for you. If you try to share it with somebody else, we're going to know that it's tied to your account. So please do not try to abuse it to bring people in that are not supposed to be in there. If you have a friend that can't afford the $5 tier, you can buy it for them and get a voucher to help them get in to the Discord. But the Discord is where communications is mostly happening for support. So that's where I will be on top of it. So last bootcamp, I was shooting videos every single day. And the support for me, I was doing it, but it wasn't every day. But this bootcamp, I'm on support every single day. I'm going to be answering things like crazy. So if you want to take advantage of that, you'll have to be there. It's just how it works out. Another thing I want to point out is office hours. So we've decided on office hours. Office hours are Zoom calls where, and this is only for the graded tier, by the way, is I do Zoom calls. We have a limit of 100 people. So whoever can get into that Zoom call can go there. And you bring your questions to me, technical questions. We can screen share, and I will actually guide you through things personally. And what I was told in the last bootcamp, that those were the most valuable sessions that people liked, because I would debug things and work through things with people in real time. And last bootcamp, we did not record them. This time we're recording them. So understand, if you're coming to office hours, the record button will be turned on. Those videos are not public. They're only for the graded tier. They will be put onto the platform somehow, and you'll be able to access them. So if you cannot attend or the room is filled up, we'll record them and you can watch them. But the idea is to give you better troubleshooting if people bring those questions there. If I've done a really good job in the videos and there are no questions, that's okay. I will just go and explore and give you more behind the scenes and talk about things that are going on. We're doing 2 office hours a week. So we have a Tuesday slot at 10 a.m. Eastern and I think it's 1 p.m. Let me double check here. It's in the announcements. A 1 p.m. Thursday. So we have 2 a week. And again, if there are no questions, I'm going to do my best to bring good content to you for those ones there. I don't know how many questions we're going to have in a beginner boot camp, because in the intermediate one, there was a lot of technical help required. This one might not be the case, but we'll do our best for those office hours. And those will get issued out through the learning platform. So you'll get a link through here. We have a vendoring system. It's the same way we'll issue out swag. We have a vendoring system. It's not appearing here right now because there's nothing being vendored out, but it'll probably appear here in a box. Bako, does it appear in a box like right here, the vendor system? Okay, it appears somewhere on the page. He gave me a lengthy description that was not a simple box, but it is here, and so you'll see that when that appears. How long will office hours be? Usually, I like to do them for an hour, but honestly, I just do them till they're done. So I don't want to overpromise on that time. So it's just going to be based on how much time I want to give. But I say a minimum, I'll provide an hour. But yeah, I've had office hours go for like 3 hours in the last one, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Can you share the FAQ link? You just got to sign up here, and it's in here, right? The FAQ is here when you register, and it's also on the main website.
I put the FAQ in the chat several times.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Yeah. So there is the vendor system available for everyone. It is, because that's how the swag will get issued out. But not everything in the vendor system will be accessible to you. When I say vendor, think of a vending machine. It's just a way for us to issue out codes or links or things like that. But it will appear when there is something to be vendored. So when swag is being vendored, then you will see it. If you don't get swag, you're not going to see it, right? So we'll just say like, hey, we've issued out swag, and then you'll have to check the platform, and then you'll go claim it. At least that's the way. Is that the way it works, Bako? Okay. Well, Bako more or less said yes. But we'll make a video on that to show what that looks like when that does happen.
When I touch my ear, I don't get Bako talking in my. Well, how do you do
Which
that?
one do you touch?
I don't get. Does it matter?
This is the left one.
Oh,
right. Sorry, right.
Okay, Bako, are you there? Bako? Nothing. Nothing.
He's real. I promise you, he's real. It's not a scam.
I got no Bako in my ears. It makes me.
Okay.
It makes me sad.
So hopefully that is clear. But folks, if you have questions, we're going to do a Q&A after class just to show you what that looks like. What you do is in the Discord, it's here on the left-hand side. It's after class, and you get this really nice wait music. You can't hear it, but I can hear it, and I love it. A lot of times the stream just takes a bit of time to start because I'm listening to the music. But we'll go here, and you can join the stage and ask your questions there, okay? But I'm just going to leave that there. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, right. So I just want to show you. I want to show you, I have lots and 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 lots of slides on Terraform. This is all part of the Terraform certification video course. So for example, I was talking about for each, right? I think I even pulled this up in one of the videos here. There's a lot of slides. So for instance, this is something we learn for each. We don't cover every little thing about these things. So if you're interested in this stuff, this is all free in video format, and you can access that here on the Exam Pro platform or on the YouTube of Free Code Camp. So please make use of that when you come across something you're not 100% sure. You can do that. Check out Chris's study notes because we have all that adjacent content, okay? But anyway, Chris and Shala, what else do you think we need to cover? Are we do we have any loose ends or?
No, I think we're good. I'm just laughing because everyone is still asking about Bako, and I'm just like, we still haven't had a reveal, so it might just be your Tyler Durden. We don't know.
In Canada, we have this character called Pokeroo. I don't know if people know Pokeroo. And it's a kid. It kind of shows how old I am. But Pokeroo is. By the way, we don't have kangaroos in Canada. This is our only kangaroo. And so Pokeroo is a kangaroo with polka dots from the polka dot door. And there's always like two adults in the show, and they go into the backyard and they say, "Where's Pokeroo?" And then one always leaves for some reason, and then you hear Pokeroo come, and then Pokeroo's around. He says, "Pokeroo, Pokeroo, Pokeroo." That's all I can say. It's like the precursor to Pokemon. Sorry.
The U.S. version of that is Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street.
Oh yeah, that's the big
the imaginary hairy woolly mammoth that only Big Bird could see.
Well, so the twist in this show is that Pokeroo is the other adult. So the adult always comes back and says, "Oh, you missed Pokeroo. Oh, I missed them again." But it's implied that the other person is in the Pokeroo suit.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not in a suit. I'm not in Pokeroo. There is a Baco. I promise you. We'll figure that out.
The other thing I will call out that I think of between me and Chris and Baco as well, that we keep posting, if you are someone who has, paid for a tier and you can't get into Discord, or you want to upgrade your tier or anything like that, as you can see here in the message, the best thing to do is to email the support team and let them know, and then that way they can take care of it. But be mindful, it is a small team, so it may take some time. Also, if you are in the Discord and you have questions, stuff like that, feel free to DM me in Discord. That's why I'm here. So make use of the off topic and the weekly forums in the Discord as well.
I just want to answer this question here about the difference between the Terraform certification course that is on YouTube, like Free Code Camp, and the one that is in the platform. The key difference is that we layer it in our platform. So the video content's the same, but we add Quizlets, we add flashcards, we add practice exams, we add all sorts of stuff on top of it. And if you want support, if you get stuck, we'll help fix it for you. Like you're like, oh, I can't get through this tutorial. We might help you. Well, we will help you fix it. Or if you have clarification questions, we'll do that. I have support engineers that are there to help you, and you'll even see me in the platform there answering questions. The idea is that, again, I want to make stuff as free as possible, but I need to somehow make some money. So if you can, my courses aren't that expensive. Try to pay for them when you can. Or, if you're looking at anything that is something that our sponsors have, look at their stuff as well, because again, they help pay for me to put this kind of training on, which is very unique and not a lot of folks do. So hopefully that makes sense there. Will I get all of the videos in the sessions? If we're talking about these sessions here, this is getting recorded, and it will be available on the platform. Though we do encourage you to come to these live streams, because then it helps us know that you're present, and also allows us to make adjustments along the way. I think there was another question. I kind of blanked out. I thought maybe Shallow, you had just said it, or I was reading it. How do I join? What is Baco? What is Baco? Okay,
it's a cookie.
Support.
A cookie.
I think someone was asking about support again. So I don't want to strain our support system too much, but generally, if you're asking questions, support is really in the Discord. The only time you'd be emailing support@exampro.co is if you're having issues getting into, if it's platform specific, like, oh, I tried to sign up, but it's not working. I tried to reset my password. It's not working. I'm trying to upgrade to this account. It's not working. If it's questions about the course content, don't send them to support@exampro.co, or you're going to drive my support engineers crazy. The support for the content of the course will be in the Discord. So you have to be in the paid tier to access that. If you have issues getting into the Discord, some folks generate out the link and it doesn't work. So they have to email and say, can you generate out another one for me? That's for the support@exampro.co. And my support's pretty quick. So they know it's game time. So they're going to be very quick to turn around and try to help you as best as possible. But again, it's a small team. So, and also just, if it's the weekends, just understand that people want their weekends. So just be patient. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there's any Canadian holidays that are coming up right now. So I know we have Thanksgiving coming up, and it's different from the U.S. Thanksgiving. We have a different date.
When
Or
is
is
Day Beer Day?
Day Beard Day? Is that like you drink beers and you drink beers and you have a beard?
No, Day Beer Day. Day Beer Day. It's the day of day drinking beer.
That's a
That's from
day? Is that every day?
No, it's a Canadian holiday. It was on Letterkenny.
Day Beer Day. Is this okay to search?
I don't know. Don't
I
do that
don't
live.
know.
What's the matter with you?
Day Beer Day. Letterkenny, that's Southern Ontario. I'm in Northwestern Ontario. If folks want to know, like I'm up here in, I'm actually in a very remote part of Canada. And were we running during? Yeah, the last boot camp was still kind of winter for me. And so, like I've been talking about winter quite a bit. And so for those who don't know, I live in a very remote part of Canada. Maps, Google. I don't know. Just people want to see here. By the way, we've covered the content, so we're just hanging out here now for a little bit, and then we'll switch over to Q&A after class here. But I love up here in Schreiber, Ontario. It's a town that no one's ever heard of, and it's a train town. I'm all the way up here, and the closest town. This is my hometown, Thunder Bay, which is 100,000 people. There's only like 1,000 people that live here. Baco's my neighbor, if you can believe it. But I'm just pointing this out because when winter comes, it becomes kind of sketchy and my power can go out. So during the last boot camp, I was like, hey, boot campers, I'm not around. I don't have power and it's like super cold here. But you might hear me talk about winter quite a bit. And Graham was saying, I passed through your town driving to Thunder Bay. And they say if you go to Thunder Bay or if you miss Mount McKay, you've missed Thunder Bay. That's the slogan there. We have a nice big mountain. And I'm not sure. Chris vanished here, but I'm just hoping that the hurricane hasn't gotten him. I don't know if people know there's a hurricane that's happening right now on the East Coast. And so Chris is somewhere on the East Coast near Boston. I always forget. Portsmouth?
Yeah, I forget too. It sounds right.
So,
hey,
yeah,
everybody, I'm back.
The hurricane passed?
So no, the hurricane is still going on. Hurricane Lee has been working its way up the eastern seaboard. It is literally I'm watching the tracker right now, and it's to the right of us. And we got messages from Comcast and Verizon and Unitil, all of them saying, "Hey, you might lose access, you might lose power and internet." So fortunately, for the live stream, I'm still here, and things seem to be going well. Knock on wood.
Robert's asking about my shed. So for those who don't know, again, Bako and I, Bako lives here and I live there. Sorry, Bako, I'm giving up personal information. And so he's my neighbor. And between us, there's a lot. And in some of my videos, I've showed this like old barn or shed that's been there. And we finally purchased the lot in between us. And so we've been clearing out this 100-year-old shed. And it took us I think a day to take out all the wood. And there was enough wood in the shed to build another shed. Yeah, I might shoot some videos from there if you're wondering what that is. We have could you repeat the technical Q&A sessions time on Zoom again? I'll put them in also in the student portal so they're very clear, but they are Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll make reminders in the Discord, but in the Discord we can't give you the direct links to them because we can't separate out support and graded easily in there. So the way that you're going to get access is the link will be in the actual student platform. Bako will probably, I'm telling this to Bako will probably have to send out an email just to remind folks for the first office hour so people get into that routine. And remember, we're going to have screen sharing there. You don't have to turn your video on, but you have to make sure you're comfortable with screen sharing. Make sure you install Zoom prior. And if you're going to use Zoom, make sure you install the desktop app, not the browser one, because if you have the browser one, it doesn't allow you to share your screens correctly. But just understand that whatever you share, other students will see that are paid and private, because I don't want to leak any, I want to minimize any chance of people leaking their personally identifiable information. And so, that's why they're not public to everyone. That's the reason why office hours are so private, is that I just want to not cause any issues for anybody. When do we get to see Baker? We're never Yeah, it's Bako. It's Bako with a YO. And by the way, his name is not Bako. His name is Andrew, but we're both named Andrew B, so it's confusing. So I just call him Bako. But Bako will appear if we get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I need those subscribers. You know,
I keep telling y'all to go subscribe so we can get the reveal.
I never tell people to subscribe, which is a big issue. I really should tell people to subscribe because I get a lot of foot traffic, but I just don't
Matter
do
of
that
fact,
here.
right now, y'all, do us a favor, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Go for it.
Sure.
Good job, Shala. Yeah. I actually just realized I hadn't subscribed to Exam Pro, so I am now subscribed.
Chris.
And I don't know. I try. When you say the student platform, do you mean Discord Exam Pro? So the student platform is exampro.co, and then the Discord is where we're going to have the communication channel. In our last bootcamp, if folks were in our last bootcamp, we built a learning platform just for that bootcamp. And then in this bootcamp, we took all the knowledge there and integrated it into our primary learning platform. For those who don't know, my background is EdTech, so building learning platforms. So we're really, really good at it. So that's what's going there. And yeah, Bako is an invisible man, pretty much. Now we need to refer to him as Baker from now on. Teo, don't be mean, Teo.
Oh.
But yeah, mandatory to subscribe. Well, there's no way to enforce it. So, do what you like. And the issue with me is like I'll produce videos, but then you'll see big dumps of videos. And so it's not the best for subscription. The thing is I used to do a few TikToks, but I found out that people, I think a lot of folks in India can't access TikTok. So I started producing them in YouTube as well, which made that difficult. Wondering, for some non-subscribers, is there going to be people on their work computers? I was going to use ones for a bit. That's actually a good question. So when you are doing this bootcamp, you need to have an AWS account, which, by the way, I have my account open somewhere up here.
There it is. Right.
Was open at one point.
No, it's there. You just went over it. Go to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. One more. Go. One more. And right there.
There it is. So you have to have an AWS account. And I don't know if we have a video for this. Thank you, Nijat. And I think I know Nijat from Twitter. So greatly appreciate that. Always providing very helpful feedback, by the way. And I appreciate that. But anyway, Shala, did you make an AWS account video in the last bootcamp?
Yeah, I was just thinking I can merge some of those over into this playlist so that way it can be Gitpod setup, because I was about to jump in. I do see some questions about how do I set up Gitpod? How do I set up an AWS account? So what I'll do is I'll merge those videos into the playlist. And also, if you're in the Discord or, follow me on Twitter, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'll be doing like my little live stream stuff where I might work on some of those kind of things. So I think what I'm thinking about doing is maybe we'll have office hours. So maybe we can also do study hours.
And so folks are saying there is a video for AWS. Chris, did you make a sign up for AWS video or no?
I
don't remember. I didn't make one.
I can't remember if I made. I don't think I did. Okay. I made the Terraform Cloud sign up video, but I used the AWS account.
In the last one, there's one. So I think Shal, if you can drop them in the playlist.
Yeah.
And if there's duplicates, that's fine because then you're just showing it in a different way. Anthony is asking, can we do this locally as Gitpod is not free? Gitpod has a free tier. And we should be able to work within the free AWS credits. If Gitpod runs out, you could use GitHub Codespaces. You could also just create 2 GitHub accounts and spread them across. Get double the use of Gitpods, which is Bootcampers figured out. But there's also JumpPad. That's what it's called, right, Chris? JumpPad, right?
Yeah, JumpPad.
And I really, 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 really wanted to do all the videos in it, but I just didn't have time. But Chris made a video with one of the co-creators of JumpPad, and that is a. Oh, sorry, yes.
No,
right?
Yeah, Eric Velt is one of the co-creators of JumpPad. He's the guy that did the walkthrough installation video that we have in the
And
video
and yeah,
repository.
JumpPad is local, and so that is a way of doing it. The only disadvantage is that I haven't made enough videos in that, and so I want to go. I'm hoping, I don't know if I'll have time, but I would like to try to explore that, and we'll do our best to try to help folks in JumpPad. But the thing is, I've been doing this whole project in Gitpod, so we're trying to get better with those local ones. But again, my main reason really to provide JumpPad is more so that I just know that some folks have network issues depending on where they live, and being in a cloud developer environment 100% of the time can make connectivity kind of an issue, whereas some people might want to run it locally. But if you're going to run a local developer environment, just understand support is limited for that, because it becomes very variable. But JumpPad does reduce the variability there. But the only caveat with JumpPad is you have to install something like Docker. It can work with Podman, but I strongly recommend that you install Docker, and just do the best you can. But it's really nice. I just spun up a JumpPad up. Okay, so apparently it's really easy to use. I spun it up. It was nice. So I don't think it'll be too hard. But the way we did, because there's a Gitpod configuration file, but for the most part, this time I made bash scripts for everything that goes in the Gitpod file. So I think that the transition to JumpPad won't be so bad. So I think that'll be a less of an issue. And yeah, some boot campers are kind of ahead of the curve. They already started pre-week, but just understand that you might need to circle back and to make sure you do Quizlets and things like that as we fill them out, which will test your knowledge there. But yeah, so hopefully that is clear there. But I don't know. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Would there be any need for skills builder? If we're talking about AWS skills builder, no, you don't. You don't need to use skills builder. Oh, there's a question someone asked before, and I totally never answered it, which was about using like AWS accounts. So I want you folks to use your own AWS account. If you're using a company account, you're not supposed to use that. In fact, when we do the validator, it will tell you if you use your own company account, you are at your own risk for using it. You better have permission to use it and understand that we're pulling data, because we have to probe. For those in the graded tier, we have to probe those accounts. We're not pulling anything dangerous, but the thing is, I don't know what's in your company accounts. I don't want you to use company accounts because we don't want to have any issues. We don't want to put you in a position where you get in trouble. But our validators only pull what they need to pull and only need permissions for what they need permissions for. And so it's at your own risk to use your company accounts. Use your local development accounts.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But if you do, just understand there's always someone that does
Don't do it.
But so just understand that. Yeah, and so you got to work through Gitpod, JumpPad. But yeah, we might produce a few other videos around that. We'll see. Yeah, Robert, do not use company accounts. Other people are saying that. Do not use company accounts. So it says, I see week 0 videos are open. Do you recommend us to view and come prepared for next week? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
That's the point of this. Yes.
You'll become overwhelmed very quickly if you do not keep pace in my boot camps. People learn this. They go, oh, I'll just do it when I get around to it. We do have built into this boot camp a catch-up week, because that's another thing we learned, is that people got to the end, like for whatever reasons they had issues, for like technical issues at home, issues at work, vacation. They wanted to binge watch the Foundation because the full season came out, whatever it was, and so they needed a bit of a buffer. And so we have a whole week for catch up at the end of the boot camp. And so I'm hoping that way we'll make sure that everyone can complete. What do you think about A Cloud Guru sandboxes? Yeah, I'm thinking about that because it's been a while since I've used them, but as far as I remember, they provide sandboxes with an open account, and it really depends on what kind of limitations they have on it. We're using CloudFront and S3, so I'm not 100% sure if there are any restrictions. The way this course is designed is to be in your own account, and I don't know if they would let you add a cross-account role into the. So, like, I think you can launch services in ACG, but I don't think they'd let you add a cross-account from another account. So it really will come down to that. So,
Yeah,
they
they probably don't. I mean,
they probably don't. But if they do, tell me. I'd like to know. This was designed to bring your own account. And by the way, everything's in the free tier, right? We're using, if you go back to this diagram, the really complex diagram, we're just using 2 services. And it's surprising how much we can do with 2 services, but we're using S3 and we're using CloudFront. I chose these intentionally because they're 100% quotation asterisk 100% free for the usage that we plan to use. To the point where I'm so confident that they'll be in free tier, I'm not even making a video. Well, I'll probably make a video on it, but I don't even need to make a video to say how free they're. Chris, do you agree with me? These ones are very free.
free as in beer. No, yeah. They're. I mean, if you're in the free tier, you're not going to be. I don't even know what the free tier cap on data in an S3 bucket is, but it's huge.
Yeah, unless people are deciding to make their page about like storing all their music. Back in the day, remember GeoCities? People would have downloadable music. So unless you're doing that, which we don't recommend you to do.
Yeah, don't create a new version of Napster for this project.
Yeah, please don't do that. Just consider that for that. Just gonna scroll down here. Just looking for other questions here. If you're aside, let's see here. Whichever way, we're just hoping we get a video to help with setting up and configuring any other space aside Gitpod to use when we run out of credits. Yeah, maybe. If you run out of credits, I guess we could show that flow. We do have the jump pad, so you can go over there. Let me see here. I just got caught up with the code traps in the middle and didn't know where the code traps were and didn't end up finishing because I couldn't get it worked out. And I think Dreadster is talking about the last boot camp because we had some really gnarly code traps. And the thing is that with code traps, if you come to office hours, I usually point them out and I'll help people through them there because we don't have a lot of foot traffic there. Or if people start asking them on the community forums, I will eventually answer them, but I won't answer them right away because, again, I want to see a bit of struggle. So it's not like sometimes if I'm not answering something, there's a reason for it, or I'll even call it out and saying like, this is a code trap. Just work through it a little bit more. Okay. No EC2 provisioning and launching this time around. So this is the trick. So and technically for the Terraform certification, provisioners are not covered anymore on the exam, but we do cover it in the certification course, and we do a bit of that in here. And I was very tempted to have a compute component in here, like Lambda, but I realized we didn't need Lambda, and I couldn't shoehorn it in any way, like to have some ridiculous way to have it. And the thing is, Lambda wouldn't be good because we need to have a compute that we can configure, like a virtual machine. And then I thought about virtual machines, and I'm like, well, if we launch a virtual machine, then we're getting closer to having spend, especially if you're out of the first year free tier, then there's even more concern of people making new AWS accounts. And then also there's that new change with IPv4, so there's that charge as well. So I avoided the compute there. So I don't think we lose anything of it. But it would have been nice to do Ansible on top of it, but that's kind of a more of a intermediate level. If people are wondering, is there going to be intermediate bootcamp? It depends on how this one does. So we'll see. But there's the idea of doing intermediate bootcamp. I'm going to tell you, intermediate bootcamps 10 times harder than this one. So hopefully that makes sense there. Free tier is only good for 1 year. In our platform, we just put everything to 1 year because that is no, I mean, it should last it doesn't matter. Like even if it says 1 year in the free tier, you can go get it again because it's free. So when we say free tier, it's free forever. It's just that the way our system works, it just always says 1 year. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Another thing I'm seeing is, if I did the last boot camp, or my AWS account has expired, should I get a new AWS account or try working from the existing one?
You can work from the existing one because we're doing the free forever tiers for these things. However, if you just want to make sure 100% that you have no issues with spend, I would make a fresh account, but you don't have to. But I should point out that Ashish and Shilpi are going to produce videos. Sometimes they make videos that go into the paid tier, and I go, oh, because security is one of those things where it's just like it can end up with spend. And so I say with caution with the security videos, be very cautious with the security content because it could rub up against paid content, like what happened in the last bootcamp, or paid content, paid services. But from what I discussed with them, I don't think anything should be paid, so I don't think that's an issue this time around. Security equals expensive. Yes, we learned this. We learned this. And I like even things that I thought were free ran out the free tier really quickly in the last bootcamp. But again, we're not doing those things. It's more about Terraform security, and that's more observing and understanding practices as opposed to using services. Those paid ones would be more for the intermediate ones. So I think it's less of a concern. And then someone's talking about I had to clean up the RDS and ALB to catch up with that spend. Yeah. And so people are finding there's some services where after a certain point they cost money. I should point out the Terraform Cloud is also free for what we're using it in. It'd be very hard to get into a paid tier for Terraform Cloud. So yeah, we should be in good shape. The only place where you might run into issues is with Gitpod, but I try to mitigate that as much as I can. So we do a lot of documentation, a lot more in this bootcamp. And if we're doing documentation, you can just stop the Gitpod environment and use GitHub pages. I don't always do them in every single video. I kind of forget. I'm like, oh right, we should just do this in GitHub pages because it won't spend credits. But just for your thing, if you see me doing documentation, you can just commit your code, spin it down, the turn off the Gitpod, and go over and use GitHub pages, which won't have any credit spend. And I also emphasize a lot in this bootcamp to stop your workspaces because we learned that Gitpod environments continuously run even when you think that they're not running. Even though they do shut off, they just don't shut off as fast as we want. And so we were very thorough about it this time. So it says here, if I run some services on my personal account and want to use the account for the bootcamp, will I pass the validation? Yeah, it's just understand that you're giving us access to that personal account, and that's what we want you to do, right? Is for your personal account. I guess there's just a distinction between a new fresh account for this or a personal account that they've been using a lot of stuff in. But just understand that we're going to pull for S3, we're going to pull for CloudFront. If there's S3 buckets you don't want us to see, if you have any weird S3 buckets you don't want us to see, just understand that they'll get pulled. We're not really looking at stuff in the detail. It's all automated, that part of it, and it's only there if we have to go and investigate. I talk about how we pull data and the practices around that. So we are pulling data and then we're storing in our own S3 bucket, and that stuff gets deleted automatically with a lifecycle policy. So we're just holding on to that data for a short period of time. I can't, Bako, how long do we hold on to data for the S3 bucket? 7 days is what Bako's telling me. So, it's just there in case we have to investigate for cheating or for, let's say, validation fails, but you've done it correctly, so we can adjust it or fix it. But we're not really interested in your data. We're just interested in validating your account, if that makes sense. Will there be a bootcamp that will align with Azure GCP for Terraform? If you ask for it. Originally, I wanted to do everything because I'm crazy. I wanted to do AWS. Chris is just like, yeah, Andrew. And I was like, hey, why don't we do everything? Let's do AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes. Let's do.
And I was like, why don't we do one at a time and just take?
Why don't we do one at a time?
Yeah.
So the really question will be: is there a demand for it? Because I can do it, and I actually, when I did this project, I built it out for all the other two. But there was just things like, how do we provide support across 3 of them at the same time? How do we we don't have validators for the other 2, so like we can validate AWS, we'd be in a rush for the other ones. But
and Baker will shoot you.
Yeah, Bako would not. Yeah, Bako's already saying like no. So and I'm seeing Azure, which yeah, it has to do with demand. If the demand is there, I can do it. These aren't too hard as the last boot camp because we're only doing like it's 4 weeks, but it's really just 2 weeks if you think about it because we have a pre-week and a catch-up week. And so it wouldn't be too bad, but there has to be the demand there for it. And I would love to do it, but I mean, we're seeing a lot here for Azure, so that's good. What about GCP, folks? Um, but let's see. I couldn't make the office hours as they were always during my work hours. Is there an option for those who can't make it 10 a.m. or 1 p.m.? The hours are the hours. I would love to do more hours. I can't promise beyond those two. I might do more than two, but I really can't promise them. The trick is it's just really hard for me to sit here all day. It's just I'm sitting for hours and it just wears me out. I have a standing desk. I just haven't moved it there. And so I'm just not as young as I used to be. And I just can't. I want in my mind to do one every single day, but I know that I have to pace ourselves out. And so you'll just have to be satisfied with the recordings. But I'll see what I can do. Okay, I'm trying to do that. But I know some folks like the weekdays don't work really well for some, or some people want them at night, some people want them in the morning. So I did the best. Will there be? Let's see here. Will there be no napkin diagram for bonus grades this time? Chris, it's directed towards you. It's a question for you. What's the bonus? What's the bonus exercise they need to do?
So this actually goes back to the original boot camp where we were talking about the conceptual, logical, and physical diagram process. Because this is a beginner boot camp, I don't think it would be fair to obfuscate this even further with additional requirements like that. Hats off to you for asking that question, but I mean, this is not going to be the 19-week slog. How many weeks did it go, Andrew?
I don't know.
It went on forever.
It went on forever. It's just like we got 80% done, and then there was 80% more to do.
Yeah,
it's just
yep.
I don't.
It
was long.
There's no extra credit for napkin designs. I genuinely appreciate that throwback, but we're gonna get through this one a lot faster. So no extra credit.
And we talked about it whether we wanted to do architectural diagrams. We thought for beginners, nah, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
We'll do in the intermediate. Like it'll come back for intermediate. And we'll probably let people use dry IO, but not this time around. Is the AWS account mandatory? Can't even access the free tier in my country due to credit card issues. Yeah, I understand that could be a difficulty for some of them, but usually if you can't access AWS in your home country, then it's usually you can't access Terraform Cloud. But Terraform Cloud doesn't require a credit card, so I shouldn't say that. There is an alternative that I haven't tested yet. If people want to figure it out themselves, there's a thing called Local Stack. I'm doing this not on the right screen here. I'll type it here. Local Stack. And so Local Stack is a way of simulating AWS locally. The only thing that I don't know is some of the things are free and some of the things are paid. So like, what's the coverage? I know it does S3 buckets, but like, can it do CloudFront? And to what degree can it do CloudFront? I don't know. And the other thing is like, it's not in a real AWS account. So how do I make sure it's real? Right. So it would have been nice if I actually spun up some instances of Local Stack. Hey, Local Stack, if you're listening, help me out. But if there was a way, I would probably recommend Local Stack, but I haven't explored it yet. But I might try that. It might be interesting because you can hook up Terraform and if it goes, it goes, or if it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's much faster than AWS, but you're not really experiencing the real AWS though. So there might be areas where it's pretending, and you're not going to get the full experience. So I don't know. It's not officially supported, but if you want to fiddle with it and tell me your experience, then maybe it'll push me to provide it as an option. And they're just saying here, Local Stack is awesome, but you need to have the pro level account to get more than just S3. But we're just using S3 and CloudFront. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to give it a test, or someone will have to test it for us when they get near the end. Anybody wants to do that? That's your bonus points. But yeah, hopefully that is clear. But anyway, I think we're pretty good for our live stream here now. I want us to move over to office hours Q&A so we get into the routine of that. So for those who are in the Discord, I'd love to go see you over there. I would like to do that because I want a break. I'm really hungry. How about we meet in after class Q&A at 2 p.m. Eastern? So that would be
25 minutes from now.
25 minutes from now. And what's the name of the Discord channel? I don't know. Terraform Beginner Bootcamp. You cannot search for it. You cannot. The only way you can join it is through the learning platform. And yeah, people are asking about local stack. Yeah. So, and will there be? Will Crystal will be in JumpPad Discord? Sure. And anyway,
Yeah.
we will see.
Sure.
I'm missing a word there, Tony. I'm not 100% sure. But Tony was in our last boot camp. Amazing boot camper. I think
We'll
all
go
the
with
office hours. Yes. And so we'll see you all in the Discord. The waiting music is actually dope. If you want to wait for the next 20 minutes and jam out to that music, you can. We'll see you in the Discord. I'm Andrew Brown.
I'm Chris Williams.
There we go.
I'm Shala.
And we'll see you over there.
We'll see you over there. Ciao.